Hi everyone, I'm Holly and today I'm making pumpkin spice latte soap. I'm adding in some pureed pumpkin to start. I like to add my additives like this to the oil so I can get them blended in really well. And now I'm going to add in some coconut milk. And now for some freshly brewed coffee. I used some espresso beans, they're a little bit stronger. I'm using just a small amount of the different additives just because there's a lot going on here and I don't want to overwhelm the batch. It is safe to add in purees and milk and coffee like this to soap batches just because of the sodium hydroxide element to this, but it is important not to use too many additives because it can get overwhelmed. Now I'm adding in the lye solution. And I'm going to blend this to get it to a light trace. Now in with the fragrance oil, and this is a mixture of a pumpkin pie fragrance with a wonderful coffee fragrance. I'll have 3 different batches for this one soap. And now it's time to pour in this first layer. This is going to be the darkest layer. So it's nice and kind of a little pumpkin-y orange now, but it will be brown. I'm gonna shimmy it and give it a smack down so it settles and pops any air bubbles. Now this is the point that I realized it was a little bit too thick to do the straight layers like I wanted, so I decided to rough up the top texture. The fragrance oil, because it is a little bit spicy, did cause it to accelerate just a little bit too much, and that's okay. So we're just gonna do some lines back and forth. Kind of make some valleys in the soap, and so it won't be an even layer. Kind of makes me think of like Charlie Brown's shirt. That would actually be a fun soap, wouldn't it? A Charlie Brown-like shirt. So I'm going to start in with the next batch, and so once again we're going in with the pumpkin. I just use canned pumpkin. I prefer organic. I feel like it is the smoothest, if that makes sense. At least the brands I've tried have been. And now in with the coconut milk. I was still trying to keep this soap vegan. And the freshly brewed coffee. So once again, we're just going to give that a nice blend. And now in with the lye solution. So kind of a funny story. Ended up, well, it wasn't funny for me. I was a bit stressed for a while. I made a mistake with this batch and I poured it into the wrong mold. I had 3 molds lined and prepared. 2 of them are one size, the same size, and then one of them is just a little bit bigger, and this batch was supposed to go in the mold that was a little bit bigger, but I ended up putting it into the mold that was just a little bit smaller, so that was a little bit stressful. I had to do a little bit of a hustle to figure that one out. So I'm adding in some titanium dioxide, and that's going to help lighten up this layer to be lighter than the one below it. I was really quite stressed because I was doing 3 big batches that day, and I had to evaluate how I was going to get everything done since I had messed up the molds. Now in with the fragrance oil again. It's the same blend of pumpkin pie and coffee. At this point, the pressure was off a little bit since I knew my layers were going to be rough. I just didn't have to speed through at this point. I wasn't trying to get those straight layers anymore. So we're going to pour on this second layer. So creamy and beautiful. It won't stay quite this creamy, but it's still beautiful. So once again, we're going to give it a little shimmy and a little smack down. You can see how the soap is just sitting on the layer, so there was not going to be a straight layer for this batch for sure. And now to just texture this top a little bit more, I'm just trying to make those valleys a little bit deeper. And now for the last batch. You could probably see the speckles of the pumpkin moving around in there with this clear pot. And now we have the lye solution again. And now to get it all blended in nicely. I want to add a little bit more titanium dioxide again to this top layer. I won't be using quite as much fragrance, but I do still need it to lighten up a bit. And then this is a mica mixture of orange and copper. Copper makes a great pumpkin color, so keep that in mind, like a copper penny or a satin penny mica. Isn't that the prettiest color? That is just fall in a clear soap pot. And now for the fragrance oil, which is reduced just a little bit. This color is not going to stay so vibrant, but it's going to add, a different contrasting color. It's so creamy. And now for the final pour. Doesn't that just look like pumpkin pie filling on a crust? My goodness. And whoop, let's go back again. That is very satisfying. I love that pumpkin pie filling color. It's so pretty. Okay, so now to just texture the top the same as I've been doing. I think it looks so much like a pumpkin here. I would just love it if this color stayed. Unfortunately, most pumpkin-y type fragrances are going to discolor due to the vanillin content, so we very rarely get this beautiful orange color in a pumpkin scented batch. But that's why I've done some unscented soaps and such before with that color, just so that I can keep it. So now I'm just cleaning off the edges. I love this part. It just finishes it off. A couple of weeks have passed and you can see that this soap has discolored quite a bit. It is a coffee soap, so that's the look that I was actually planning on. I probably would have added a little bit more of the copper and orange mica, but that's okay. Next year, we can do that next year. This cut is just so pretty. I don't know what it is about those lines. They're just very satisfying today. So you can really see on that discoloration on the edge where the titanium dioxide really lightened up that middle layer. It's so creamy and beautiful. And of course the inside is still creamy because it has not been exposed to air and has not discolored yet. And then you can see in this bar that it's been cut for a couple of weeks that it has discolored nicely and all the color is fairly uniform. The color differences are subtle and I feel like that really fits this soap. It's just very cozy and comforting, just like a pumpkin spice latte would be. I'm really into cozy and comfort. That's just my thing, and I love the fall and holiday season for the fact that you can just get all cuddled up in a blanket with a hot drink and just feel so good. In the summertime, I just want to be outside and it just feels weird to sit in the air conditioning cuddled up under a blanket. I do it anyway, but I just love the fall and the holiday season, fall and winter. And I also am a big fan of the time change. I know a lot of people don't like it, but I love it getting dark just a little bit earlier in the evening. I feel like we all settle down and we cozy in and we kind of come together as a family just a little bit earlier in the day. I make more comforting, cozy meals, more soups and chilies and just yummy stick to your ribs type food that I don't fix in the summertime because it's just too hot. I just thrive in the fall and the winter. So there we have it, the pumpkin spice latte soap, made with pumpkin and coconut milk and coffee. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one. Bye.